Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Vonique Toot, and this is NB12 for Thursday, April 26, 2012, broadcasting from the Cable 12 studios on Robinson Road. In news tonight, there is major backlash over Progressive Liberal Party billboards highlighting murders in the Bahamas. The party claims someone tore them down. Members of the Democratic National Alliance calling for PLP leader Perry Christie to step down. We'll tell you why. 4 brothers charged in connection with a recent shooting at a local cemetery, plus taxi drivers already fed up with a new system. We have those stories and much more coming up tonight. Your MB12 starts right now. Leaders of the Progressive Liberal Party are crying foul after a number of their billboards were ripped down and thrown away. Environment Minister Earl DeVoe confirmed that officials from the Department of Environmental Health Services were instructed to remove certain PLP billboards because there was some hostility regarding those signs. A Progressive Liberal Party worker hammered away at a new billboard hours after party officials claim several of the old ones were torn down. Party leaders claim posters with various messages were ripped down and dumped into garbage bins at a government complex. But the one that has become quite controversial in recent days reads, "Under the F&M, 490-plus murders." Some Bahamians feel it was inappropriate for the opposition to erect those billboards in areas frequented by tourists like Saunders Beach and Montague foreshore. In fact, North Carolina native Marshall Henson told NB12 that less than 2 hours after he arrived in New Providence, he drove past this billboard. The first-time visitor to the Bahamas says it's a scary first impression.
I thought y'all had 490 murders this year, and that kind of concerned me a little bit, but because we have a lot of murders in big cities in Charlotte, around Charlotte, and so I thought, man, that's a lot of murders. It would determine whether you came back, if it's a crime-ridden area, you don't want to come back.
Whatever we're going through have nothing to do with the tourists. It's just supposed to be political-wise, supposed to be political-wise. You shouldn't put anything out front that the tourists can see because that can stop them from coming here. We want them to come here. Why avoid them? You want them not to come here?
Do you think those billboards should be taken down?
Yes, I think so.
Tourism Minister Vincent Vanderpool Wallace says when tourism officials first saw that PLP billboard, they asked the party to take them down. But instead, more started popping up throughout New Providence. Since then, he says his ministry has received many complaints from taxi drivers, and tourists were seen taking pictures of the billboards.
It's the worst message we can give visitors who are coming to the Bahamas, to be trumpeting things that are very negative about the country. We got a number of complaints because one first appeared in the roundabout by Coral Harbor. We asked if it could possibly be removed. It wasn't moved, and then we found that they started popping up in other places. It's a very strange position to be in where people seem to want to kill the very thing they want to lead. They want to lead the country. Why would you go out and trash it in such a way? I mean, there are certain things where there is no, just to paraphrase somebody, there's no green Bahamas or red Bahamas or yellow Bahamas. There's a Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
The PLP's candidate for Fox Hill, Fred Mitchell, argued that the billboards are simply stating a fact. However, he admitted that some of their benefactors have expressed concern over it.
I mean, some people have called and said, perhaps you ought to do this or perhaps you ought to do that. I mean, this happens during a campaign. So, one responds with sensitivity to all the criticisms that you have of the campaign. We're not like others where you just say, whatever it is, to heck with it.
PLP Deputy Leader Philip Brave Davis also defended the party's decision to put that message on billboards. His party worked quickly to replace the ones that were torn down. When asked whether he was concerned about tourists getting a bad impression, he said,
"What I see a problem with the government being unable to address the issues that would attract tourists to come here. Don't forget now, the tourist arrival has already been spiraling downwards, not upwards. We cannot hide the truth. Are we about hiding the truth? Are we about hiding the truth? Are we about that? Are we about suppressing the truth? Are we going to be concerned about the impression that the truth gives? Is that what we are saying? Are you saying that we should suppress truth? Right? To suppress the truth? Don't forget now, there was an Australian documentary that's already gone around the world, so it's out there.
Fox Hill MP Fred Mitchell is threatening to sue the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas if it does not pull a political ad sponsored by the FNM. He says the new television ad suggests that he was involved in a visa scandal during his time as Foreign Affairs Minister. The allegation is the subject of a lawsuit Mitchell filed against Ministry of Foreign Affairs official Dorothea LaFleur earlier this year. Mitchell says his attorney Raynard Rigby sent letters to ZNS and industry regulator, the Utilities Regulation and Competition Authority, URCA, asking that the ad be pulled.
There are two issues here. One is the question of fair comment on anything which is in the public domain. That's not the issue. I mean, obviously, a political party can say whatever it wishes and characterize. The question is whether or not you can defame some individual during the course of your political commentary. And this is clearly defamation. There is nothing which they can show in any way that involves me in any visa scandal, in the sense that that ad says that some corrupt act took place by me. And to that extent, they have to withdraw that ad. And if they don't, we're filing a writ.
The letter Rigby sent to ZNS and URCA says the ad violates Part 6 of URCA's content regulations. Chairman of the Broadcasting Corporation, Michael Moss, told NB12 that he heard the radio version of the ad in question and it did not appear to be defamatory. However, he says he would have to watch the video version of the ad and speak with management at ZNS to determine what action to take. Gabriella Frazier, an official at URCA, could not confirm if the regulator had received the letter and if the ad violates URCA's rules. She says she could not comment further on the matter. Oil exploration has become a hot topic in recent weeks, especially after PLP leader Perry Christie confirmed that he is a paid consultant for a law firm offering services to Bahamas Petroleum Company. This morning, the Democratic National Alliance took action by protesting in front of the opposition leader's office on Parliament Street. Jasmine Bonnaby has the story.
Although opposition leader Perry Christie was not in office this morning, that didn't stop DNA members from protesting outside the opposition headquarters on Parliament Street. But they didn't just hit out at Christie, they also criticized the Prime Minister.
With the 2012 general election just around the corner, the issue of oil exploration continues to be debated on the campaign trail. While Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham has raised the issue at every FNM rally since Monday, it was actually the DNA that first brought the issue to the forefront several months ago. DNA Deputy Leader Chris Mortimer says his party isn't against oil drilling, just against the PLP and its involvement with Bahamas Petroleum Company.
We have always mentioned throughout the entire process is that if the Bahamas decides, if we as a people decide that we want to explore for oil, we're going to have to put things right first. We are not against oil drilling, but there are major ramifications with oil drilling. Whether or not we are prepared to put on the line our number 1 and number 3 industries, because an oil spill can do that. So we want to make sure that if the Bahamas decides that we are going to go down the road of becoming an oil-producing nation, we want to make sure that there are safeties in place in terms of if an oil spill doesn't happen, so that we're not eating fish filled with oil.
Christie has acknowledged that the oil company has benefited from legal advice he has given as a consultant for Davis & Co., the law firm of PLP Deputy Leader Philip Brave Davis, which represents BPC. Criticism of the PLP's involvement with BPC and the need for further legislation governing the oil industry are about the only things the DNA and FNM agree on. During last night's rally in South Eleuthera, Ingraham called Christie an oil lobbyist. While calling for Christie and Davis resignations, the DNA also criticized Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham for now speaking out about the issue.
And I think it's very hypocritical of Mr. Ingraham to say that now right before an election as it relates to our natural resource oil or as it relates to BPC being paid consultants for that company. I think that's a definite conflict of interest, and I would like to ask Mr. Christie to do the honorable thing and step down as leader of the opposition and resign as a candidate for Centerville.
Today at the Progressive Liberal Party press conference, Davis responded to the DNA's comments, saying their role is not at conflict of interest, as the PLP is not the governing party. The DNA says it will not give up on the issue, insisting there is more to the story than is being disclosed.
And it doesn't stop here today. It doesn't stop with an election. We are going to find out how deep this hole is. And we're going to explore it as far as it goes and expose it for what it is. It is a travesty to the people of the Bahamas to have a resource such as this, which has the opportunity to transform our society for the better.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Bonamy.